To go to a gym in Japan and experiences the power.
If you are coming to Japan and planning on going to the gym, let me just warn you, do not wear a matching set. Do not wear a cute little outfit like this. I know that we all love them. I feel so super cute right now. But if I wear something like this to the gym, Japanese people literally treat me like I have written on my forehead. Like they stop and they look at me and they're like, what? Like I've forgotten to get dressed. This is how I dress now. Now that I've been living here for a year, when I go to the gym, this is how I dress, like all the other Japanese people. This is the vibe. This is the vibe. Okay? The pants with the leggings on underneath. This is the look that we go for. Okay? I couldn't feel less hot.
Your cheeks is hanging out.
That's right.
But then you said, I'm not a hoe. Why you want to look like one?
That's right. That's right.
What is it about a hoe that's appealing to you, hoe? What's the hoe?
Right, Shalom, giving all praise unto Yabashi Masha, Bashi Mukwa Hakodash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and our brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bashi Mukwa Hakodash. So this is going to be a relatively quick video, in transit style video, based upon the clip that we just seen there. I'm going to probably entitle this something to the effect of, therefore the nations are mad. And you know, I'm kind of speaking off the top of the head here whilst mentioning particular points that hopefully are going to be of edification and are going to be of a spiritual persuasion, right? But you can clearly see, even in the times that we're living in right now, where, like the scripture says, therefore the nations are mad. And that is to say, the Eastern nations, whether it be the Muslim nations, so-called Muslim nations, or the so-called Hindu nations, of which we understand that their gods are idols, but they really had a culture that was based on the East, based upon the things that really, when you understand the scriptures and what we were supposed to represent within the world, that being the children of Israel, you come to the conclusion that they really have a culture that's based off of certain points of the scriptures. And you know, I've heard the apostles, the bishops, even when I was watching today, you know, Islam is just it's like a derivative. It's like a derivative of the scriptures, right? But we understand from the doctrine that they teach that's idol worship. It's a false doctrine. But a point I'm trying to make here is, within certain of these Eastern cultures, they still preserve some of the ways that goes back onto the correct way, the scriptural way. And that's the point I'm trying to drive home. I ain't trying to drive home. I don't want nobody to clip the video and take a segment out of it and says, oh, the brother Ibod said this. No, to hell with their idealistic religious beliefs. But what we could understand, or what we could derive from some of the customs and the ways by which they live, is we can come to the conclusion that, you know, they still kind of live, kinda live by the modest ways of the ancient world. And that's what Jacob was supposed to be within the earth. We were supposed to be the symbol of how to conduct yourself and how to behave within the world. Does not the scripture say the women are supposed to adorn themselves in modest apparel? So when the women are supposed to be out there, they're supposed to be looking all kind of modest. And as we've just seen within that particular clip here, that's the expectation when you go into these Eastern countries, right? Amongst the so-called Middle Eastern countries, which again, the way they conduct themselves is closer, not the same, closer to what we read about within the scriptures, right? Some of the points that we see them do, like, you know, you got the Arabs out here trying to eat some camelback, call it a delicacy. That's totally bugged out. But hey, you know, the idea that you can have multiple women, the idea that you got the man as the head of the household, right? And to the purposes of this particular video, modesty amongst the women. That's the thing that we see within the scriptures, and that's the thing that was heavily emphasized. I mean, doth not the scripture say if your daughter gather abroad, you gotta keep her in straitly? I don't know if I'm mangling that particular precept there, but the scripture says we're supposed to be, our women are supposed to be modest, man. Okay, our women are supposed to be modest, and we see with this Western ideology, the Western wine, if you will, wherewith the scripture says within the book of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, how that Babylon has been a golden cup within the Lord's hand, and he's made all the world earth drinking. And then he goes on to say, therefore the nations are mad. We see with this Babylon juice, man, right, this Western way of living, it's brought about a lot of destruction. And we understand from the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, that really, that Western way of living, Esau pushed that onto the world, right? Esau pushed that onto the world, but really he was going for Jake, man. When you read about feminism and when you read about all of these ideologies that people attach themselves to, and they try to live by those wicked principles, you really come to the conclusion that Esau, pursuant to the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, he's really out here to try and destroy Jacob, man. And these Edomites, they don't care. These elite banking families, these elite banking family Edomites, they don't give a damn if they catch a few Edomites on the way. They don't care about that, man. They don't care about the Edomites that are out there really trying to push forth for this, you know, female empowerment. They don't care about that. That's what they know as collateral damage. That's all part of the calculation that they've made. Okay, they'll calculate, okay, we're gonna get this much Jake, we're gonna get 100 Jakes, we're willing to lose 1,000 Edomites. That's how these Edomites think, man. That's how they think. It's just collateral damage. Amongst the elite banking families, where do you see the women? You don't really see them, man. They're somewhere out there within the backgrounds. When you see these so-called female empowerment movements and the guys that fund them, and you know, the George Soroses of the world, I think George Soros was involved with the BLM, which the BLM is nothing but the destruction of the black family, which all ties into modesty and modesty and shamefaced. It's all linked together. It's all linked together. Okay? But when you see these guys that back these movements and how they conduct their households, they conduct their households totally differently to the movements that they're so-called funding. All right? They run their households totally differently to the movements that they're so-called pushing forward toward the four corners of the earth. Now, ain't that something? Right? The elite banking families that put money towards destroying the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, they don't run their households like the Western world. They run their households really like the ancient world, right? Because they understand. Now, obviously, we understand they're witches and warlocks. I'm just talking about the man being at the head of the household. They run it like that, okay? Which is an ancient mindset. Because when you go into the scriptures, you come to understand that the father, his line cannot, well, rather more, the family line can only preserve through the father's seed. So that makes the man more special. So therefore, the man's the head of the household, etc., 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 etc. You know, that's why Esau pushes that Gardenian pact to where you go in a totally different country out there, Russia. Look what happened to this crazy woman. You know, I don't even know if it's a woman. Right, Brittany Griner. She was out there acting like a Western woman out there within Russia. That might be a geezer, by the way. That might be a bloke. All right, but she was out there amongst the Russians, behaving like she was in the hood. Certain people, when they go out there into the Middle Eastern countries, they go out there behaving like they're still in the hood, and it's like, whoa, it's a culture shock. Why? Because America, as we've said, you know, on a plethora of different occasions, on a number of occasions, we told you time and time and again, this is the golden cup, man. This is the golden cup that perpetuates a demonic, destructive way of living amongst the people. Like, what benefit is it for a woman to go out there amongst, you know, like within the ancient world, men could go out there to battle, right? You can go out there to battle, all right, and you know, you could do, you know, very, very, very traditionally masculine things, of which even unto this day, you know, going out there to battle is a very, very masculine thing to do. But what's going to be the modern day equivalent to be really out there in the thick of it, right? High testosterone. That's really like a one of these gym bros, man. All right, when I mean, we exercise, but you know, really for us, the truth is the only thing that really matters. So, look, brother doesn't want to train, that's his own business. Okay, the truth is what matters. Exercise, you know, profit little, but it does profit. So, you know, I'll leave that to our brother's discernment, whether he wants to be out there and, you know, lifting dumbbells and trying to be the next Ronnie Coleman or whatever. That's you know, that's your own personal decision to do. But the point I'm trying to make here is, amongst the athletes is not where a scantily dressed woman is supposed to be. That's a dangerous position to be in. But out here within the West, they push that philosophy that you gotta have your ass cheeks out amongst high strong men. That's like a dangerous position to be in. Okay, that's a very dangerous position to be in, and you can see amongst these other nations, they don't conduct their society like that. But like I said, all things work towards the destruction of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, because this empowerment has allowed the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American woman to believe and think that she's independent, and in thinking that she's independent, which really she's dependent on the state. That's really who your man is. They don't speak about that. Really, your man is the state. Okay, they don't want to speak about that. Really, your daddy is the state. And it's funny that the scripture says that what? That unto these monsters, and I use the word monsters deliberately because unto menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, is what the scripture saith. Unto these monsters, their daddy, right, is the red Hebrew Edomite Esau. Does not the scripture say, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do? What's the last of the Esau's desires, man? Esau wants to destroy the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. And what you see amongst these gremlins that are born of these independent women, that are born of Big Shirley, what do you see amongst them? They're out there killing each other, right? They're out there killing each other for a Rolex. They're out there robbing each other, man. They're out there with a zombie knife. Which when I seen that knife, boy, that bugged me out, man. I couldn't believe Jake was out here so hurtful and hateful towards their brother with a zombie knife. But these are the products of Big Shirley. These are the products of Big Shirley, man. This is the products. Those children are the product of what? They're the product of feminism. Therefore, the scripture saith what? Ye are of your father the devil, and your lust of your father you will do. So hopefully that was a verification. I know it's just like a rant in a way. But I mean, you know, I tried to quote as much scriptures as I physically could do as I did the video. And if you're new in the faith, you know, go out there and check out the scriptures. Go check out the precepts, go check out the apostles, and you see really that this whole thing that's been set up out here of empowerment, freedom, and sexual liberation is very destructive. Okay, it's very destructive to the soul, and it's very destructive to the family structure, which when we understand how the forefathers conducted it, the family structure was really the nation. See, if the family was tight, then the nation was tight, right? If you had a household that was tight, then you had a situation where the nation was tight. So when you got it to where the strong man was bound, and therefore the woman was allowed to, you know, to reign free, to be the big child that's running the family, really it ruined a lot of things, man. Right? It ruined a lot of things, right? Basic structure, right? Of which the most basic structure is the scriptures. That's why they call them the basic instructions before leaving earth, right? Those basic structures of which really you gotta be a man to understand these scriptures, because there's a certain level of nastiness that comes with these scriptures. And what I mean by nastiness, you see, you got to understand why the Most High would allow the death angel to go out there amongst the Egyptians and not only kill the men and the women. I forget how it goes, but not only let me phrase this correctly. I don't want to go off, right? Because it was only the children that was killed, right? But let's use the example that I want to. Let me make the statement that I want to make, but with the right example. When the Most High said it unto our forefathers, go out there and commit genocide unto King David, Saul was told to do that, but he was disobedient, and therefore the Most High jacked him up. When that was said, it was indiscriminate. Okay, the men, the children, okay, the little boys, the old men was allowed to be destroyed. Why? Because if you really got to be a man to understand that. Look, man, the man carries the seed, so you can't leave a little Edomite. You can't leave a little Edomite. Okay, you can't leave a little Edomite. So Esau, understanding all of that, understanding that the woman was gonna have a feminine twist to everything, she was gonna be a lenient. That's the word I'm looking for. She's gonna be more lenient towards her children. She's gonna be more lenient towards BS. They use progressiveness, so-called progressiveness, really, which regressiveness, right? They use regressiveness in order to destroy the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, having the woman as the head of the household, because she's more lenient than the man. Whereas the man is a bit more not a bit more, but he's totally like a traditional old school man. He's really indiscriminate, man. When it comes to evil and zapping out evil out of the household, that's how a man was supposed to be within the ancient world. And that's why the scripture says, remember to show yourselves men. Okay, remember to show yourselves men, right? Because the ancient way of being masculine was very, man, it was kind of, you know, if you took a austere man from the ancient world and you dropped him here, that'd be kind of like a scary individual. Hey, a good example that comes to mind, I believe it was Samuel. They said unto Samuel when he went to a particular city, have thou come for peace, or have thou come for for trouble? Because he was a very austere man. Okay? So with that being said, hopefully that was of edification. Salakia, you know, I slipped my tongue there when I said that you mentioned the Egypt thing, but you know, Lord as well, I caught it in time and corrected it. With that, I'm gonna say, all praise unto Yahweh, Shema Shaiba, Shemukah, Kodash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. I want you brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.